are walking right now into the National Museum and being greeted there. So as you speak, so that you know what our viewers are watching.
Yeah, it's unclear because there's all these conflicting reports coming out about what's going to be in the speech, who's writing it, whether or not the expression radical Islamic terrorism will be in the speech. I think the details of this are less important than what the broader message is, which is that, as I said before, there are many people in the Muslim world, not just the Muslim world, but around the world, who are under the impression that this president has a problem with Islam or wants to wage war on the Muslim world because of the rhetoric that he expressed during the campaign, on the campaign trail. And so I think this is a really important opportunity for him to make clear that the United States does not view the Islamic religion itself as an enemy. There's over 1 billion Muslims. We can't afford to make an enemy out of the Muslim faith. And so he's going to want to make a crucial distinction between the vast majority of Muslims, Islamic faith, and those who use it for nefarious purposes, to cause violence. And I anticipate that this is what he will try to do. I mean, I can't say what he'll try to do. I hope this is what he'll do tomorrow. But there's a lot riding on it.
It's Kelly right here. And to your point, Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia, Abdul al-Jubeir, said that this is indicative of changing the partnership from enmity to friendship. So the president will likely have to expound upon that and expand that and broaden that and even deepen that relationship with Saudi Arabia and its Arab allies in moving forward to vanquish ISIS as well as Al-Qaeda. And it's really important, but it's very important to point out how Jubeir pointed out that this is a change in partnership from enmity to friendship.
Yeah, I mean, the Saudis really got the cold shoulder at the end of the Obama administration. Not just the Saudis, but many of our Sunni Arab allies. They were very happy to see Barack Obama leave the White House. They felt that the United States was privileging its relationship with the Iranians, that it wanted to basically reshape the entire balance of political and security order in the Middle East, that we were going to try to bring about some sort of equilibrium between Iran and the Sunni powers. And they didn't want this for understandable reasons, because they believe, and I happen to agree with them, that the Iranians aren't really interested in a balance of power. They believe in resistance against the American-led security order, and they want to destabilize American allies, whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's Jordan, whether it's Lebanon. And let's not forget, obviously, their rhetoric against Israel, which you constantly see them pledging to destroy and supporting terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. And they support all sorts of terrorist groups across the region. So there's a lot of hope riding on the Trump administration. You know, with all the chaos that's going on in Washington right now, I'm not sure how effectively he can really lead on these issues. I think it's unfortunate.
We just want to point out that while you're talking, we're watching the president's motorcade actually leave the area. And we will continue to watch those developments. But as you were saying, I just want to point out here that Jubeir also pointed out that they have problems over there with dealing with not only ISIS, but Hezbollah fighters, as well as the Houthi fighters in Yemen, which are also backed by Iran.
Yes, I mean, you look at the Iranian reach has increased dramatically over the past several years, whether it's in Yemen, whether it's in Lebanon, where they've had Hezbollah for decades, in southern Lebanon, but also in influential positions in the Lebanese government. Hamas, obviously, in the Gaza Strip. You have the Iraqi government, which is Shiite-led and has close relations with Iran. And then there is, of course, Syria with the Assad regime, which is being sponsored by the Iranians, and who the Iranians are propping up with the help of the Russians. So the Iranians are definitely on the move, on the march across the region. They've been emboldened by the Iranian nuclear deal. And so there's a lot of hope riding on President Trump that he can reverse this if it's not too late.
James, I want to ask you with regard to terrorism. You know, President Trump and candidate Trump campaigned very hard about the fact that he will defeat ISIS, and so far has certainly done a magnificent job in taking such a strong stance in Syria, where ISIS has essentially been allowed the opportunity to grow by the tens of thousands because of that whole no boots on the ground policy that our former President Obama had implemented. And by not going there on the ground, many military officials would argue that that essentially gave ISIS time to grow. In this trip, while in Riyadh, the president, will actually be attending the inauguration of the Global Counter-Extremist Terrorism Center. What can he learn from that visit?
Well, I think what he needs to learn in Syria in particular is that it is the Assad regime that has been fueling the rise of ISIS. And it is the brutality of the Assad regime in just killing hundreds of thousands of Syrians, primarily Sunnis, that has driven people, so many Sunnis, into the arms of ISIS. Because, yeah.
All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I wanted to let you finish your thought, but we do have to go.
No problem. Thank you.
Our newscast is a bit fluid. But James, thank you very much. James Kirchick, we appreciate you coming on.